on today's webinar, Introduction to Machine Learning Algorithms. I would like to welcome today's presenter, Dr. K. Geeta, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science. I welcome you, Madam. And I welcome our Principal, Dr. M. Ilamparudi. I welcome you, sir. I welcome our Head of Department, Mr. S. Dhanraj. I welcome you, sir. And I welcome our staffs and my dear friends. I welcome you all to today's session. Thank you.
Teachers open the door, but you must enter by yourself. I call upon B. Ramita of third year BSc Computer Science to introduce the chief guest.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. It is my honor and privilege to be introducing Dr. K. Geeta, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science. Her professional experience is an Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Bharathiar University. Her current area of research is digital signal processing and networking. She pursued her master's in computer science from Bishop Heber College, Trichy. Adding a new feather to her had she obtained her PhD in computer science in Bharathiar University. She had been published the 5 significant publications. She is indeed a great person having whole lot of experience in various fields. It's glad to have your presence, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you.
The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires. To inspire us today, I welcome the guest of honor, Dr. K. Geeta, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science, Bharathiar University, to fill our minds with knowledge on machine learning algorithms.
Shall I start?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
First of all, I like to thank Dr. M. Ilamparudi, the principal of our college, then the convener, Dr. S. Dhanraj, the organizers, Swatika and Vijay for giving me the wonderful chance to meet you all in this webinar. In this session, what we are going to discuss is about some machine learning algorithms. Shall I share my presentation?
Yes, madam.
Is it visible?
Yes, madam, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. It's really very privileged to me to share something about machine learning algorithms in this session. So what we are going to discuss in this webinars are listed here. First we see the introduction about machine learning, the definition for machine learning, the words uttered, who uttered that word first by whom, and the type of machine learning what we meet every day, and automatic speech recognition, and how we are automating our speeches, and what is the hidden Markov model, that is HMM, how it can be used in speech recognition. That then we are going to have some introduction about neural networks, and we see some glimpses of the applications of machine learning, and what the tools we can use for enriching our algorithms for machine learning applications, and followed by conclusion. These are some of the glimpses what we are going to have in this session. So first we see what is machine learning. Machine learning is a sub area of artificial intelligence which concerns about the design and development of algorithms. So which is nothing but a design and development of algorithms. So, in our practical programs, already we are familiar with the number of languages, computer languages, say C, C++. Likewise, in which we are implementing number of steps. Say example, if you are writing a program for sorting numbers, you will write an algorithm in your record notebook. Then you will implement the program. Then you will compile it and then you will execute and you will see the results. So we have implemented this small program which constitutes only few lines. So which it does what job? Just a sorting of numbers. We extend, since the advancements in technology, technological growth in terms of size and efficiency lead us to implement very complicated programs, which leads to design of machine learning algorithms in almost all areas. So in recent days, particularly this machine learning occupies a major part of our life, directly or indirectly. As we are all computer persons, we should be familiar with this, at least minimum about the terminology, what we are dealing in machine learning. That is why we are having this session today. Okay, so example, in recent days, in olden period, say example in ancient period, how man worked for his food. He went for hunting. He used stones and weapons, what they can collect around him for hunting his food. But in 20th century, what happened? We expected we automated using machineries. Yeah. So what happened using this machineries? We our manpower is made lesser, so that we get more productivity. So that most of the manpowers are kept idle, and all jobs done by men are done by machineries. So that is automation as were done on 20th century. But what happened in the current century, particularly in the last 2 decades, in the beginning of this 21st century, in 2000, beginning of this 2000, you are the 2K kids, no? You are grown up in this period. Everybody, you are having your smartphone in your hand, and whatever you are doing, we expect machines to do. That is the difference between the last century and the current century, it seems. So example, in the last century, we expect machines to do some jobs. It does only mechanical work. It reduces our manpower. But in 20th century, we expect machines for thinking and making decisions for betterment of the people. So that is machine learning. How we are making that machines? Machines are nothing but a dump machine, electronic equipment. How we are making that electronic equipment to make like a human being? That is the topic about machine learning. Can you understand what I am telling? Machine learning. Can you understand the definition for machine learning? I expect some feedback from anybody. Say yes or no. I will ask some few questions, like a very simple yes or no type question. Am I audible, and is it clear about machine learning? Am I audible?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Understand, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. At least anybody, any one candidate, please respond me. Then only I can proceed. Okay. Right. Good. Then, what made us to let the machines to decide? What do you think about this? According to me, my perception, men become very lazy. That is the reason we are making last century, we expect the machines to work job, but even nowadays people are very lazy to do think also. That is why we make everything automated. So that is the reason, I think. Then here we are I have listed some machine learning algorithms what we are using in our day-to-day life. I think everybody having the experience of playing games. Is there anybody having no experience in playing game? Sure, I will get no answer. Since everybody, I hope, everybody having the experience from Dev to PUBG. So now recently they have banned, even though in the banned period, few people are playing PUBG game in a pirated versions, as you know. And then I'm talking about the Google applications. It have a number of machine learning. We can say Google is the monster in machine learning in the world. I can say that is every applications what Google has, it uses a certain type of machine learning algorithms. If you have these are the things. Since we are using Google in our day-to-day life, if you are opening your mobile, surely per day you will access 1,000 times, minimum 20 times at least Google. You can search and you can monitor your activities. In Google search, when you are start to keying your the location where S.M.S college is, you can start S.M.S. The rest of the College of Arts and Science will be displayed on the your screen. How it is possible for Google to display the rest of the words? It is possible because of this machine learning. So what the words come next? We made this machine learning algorithm to prefer or type of the words that can occur in the rest of the word what you have typed. If you have taken a Google map, so when you are going out, no need to fear about the routes. Google is there to help you to go to that your place perfectly. It gives whatever may be the route. It gives more suggestions. Before a decade, and the facilities are not like that. But in recent days, it suggests where we are having the restaurants, where we are having hospitals, where we are having ATMs. All things it suggests by the Google map. How it manages all this data, how it gives what you are searching for, how it finds itself, and how it give you the suggestions. It depends upon it. It simply reads you. So directly or indirectly, it reads the data what you are supplying to the Google. Everything will be fed into the Google server, and it will be kept in a separate place and make an analysis over it. And it gives the preferences of your choice. And every day we are using Gmail. What is the flexibility you are having in your Gmail? Can you say? Yeah, it has some classification technique. Have you noticed that, like primary mail and then social and then preferences? So these are the sum of categories that the Gmail has for sorting, for categorizing the mails of your account. How it classifies a particular mail. Have you find any fault in categorizing any in this categorizing your mails in this categories, primary or preferences, or in any other social category? No, certainly the answers will be no, since it uses a perfect machine level language, the machine learning algorithm that Google supports. It is trained day by day. So in future, it will be suggest more perfect solutions to you. And another feature I wonder is smart replies and smart compose. When you're composing mail, you have to type everything, but nowadays it is very easy, made easy. Whenever you start to key, automatically it suggests all. When you are typing all, it gives the rest of the words the best. Likewise, it gives smart replies and smart compose. And have you heard about this option, that is Google Translate application? What is Google Translate? If you if you don't know any one language, so say example Hindi, you don't know Hindi, but you are having some words in Hindi. So simply you can cut and paste, and you can translate it, and you can know the meaning of that Hindi word. So these are all some of the applications that are supported by Google. It has many more. If I start to talk about all the applications, the session will be end. But here I have listed some. Say example, already you are familiar with Facebook. How with Facebook, when you're you will enroll with your phone number or a mail account with Facebook, but it will ask us for only few questions. But later a period, what will happen? It searches for your friends with whom you have studied in your LKG or UKG. It suggests, and it will recent photographs whom they are in the Facebook link. It will be uploaded and it will be popped up in your home page. So that is Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. These are some social networks. They are also using certain type of machine level languaging and making your job very easy. And likewise, in machine level language, that is machine learning, is used in specific healthcare applications. And here I have listed only few. It is also used to diagnose the risk level by analyzing the pressure level. So every moment, for example, for a periodic time, the pressure can be monitored, and it can be used to diagnose whether we're in a good condition or we have to be monitored. So we are having a system like this. It will be helpful for the elderly people, and it can be helpful for diabetic retinopathy, retinal images. It is used to diagnose some images, and skin care treatment. It will be helpful for skin care treatment. And even nowadays, you might have heard about that online surgery. It is also possible through what machine learning is. Yes, some doctors suggesting in foreign, it is also done with high cutting edge technologies. It is also possible for surgery through online, and we are having more healthcare applications using your machine language, machine learning techniques. And then in commerce is nothing but what you are having in business. In business, how it can be used to promote online purchase. Everybody having experience of purchasing items through online. As example, Amazon, Flipkart, Shopclose. These are all the some of the business areas where you can have how they are selling their product, how they are how they are making profit over this online. So if you purchase one particular product from Amazon, so example, if you buy a smartphone, then automatically it will suggest you what type of case, phone case you can have, what you can phone case you can prefer. It will suggest you. So how it how it gives suggestions based on your preferences. It is purely based on your machine learning what Amazon uses. Okay, and not only that, when in the trending in the sense what recently we are hearing about this driverless cars like Tesla. Have you heard about this Tesla car? It is a very perfect system which drives the car with no need to have for the human intervention. So you can simply sit, it will help you to go where you want. Like have you heard about this digital personal assistants, Siri, Alexa? And we are familiar with the robots. In recently, Coimbatore one hotel have the robotics for attracting people to serve food for their customers. So these are all the some of the areas where machine learning is embedded. So that is why we are having this topic. Okay, first we see the definition for machine learning. First, the word machine learning is coined by Arthur Samuel, who actually worked in IBM, and he defined machine learning as a field of study that gives computer the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. Suppose if you want to write the ascending to sort a set of programs, you will explicitly write the program, and what the steps you have given in that program, it will react according to the lines of your coding. But in machine learning, you will initiate the system, and based on the result, it will update itself according to the result what it receives. So we are writing a self-adjusting program that is known as machine learning. Is it clear, students? Machine learning, that is the definition uttered by Arthur somewhere. Okay, so when you're defining machine learning, usually it is not like a traditional programming. So you will have two phases. Usually that is called as a training phase and testing phase. What is your training phase? Training phase, here we will call it as the what we are constructing is known as the model, which accepts the data, and what is the algorithm here we are using to design the model, to design the program, that is called the model. So that is called the training. So whatever you are having the data, that entire data will be fed, can be used, and you will write a program that uses the entire set of program, and then we design a set of routine that is called the model. That is also that is called here a model, which is executed number of times so that it get trained. Then the same model will be used for evaluating the results. So example, if you are testing the sample data already what you had, then you will get the result as output. Then you can verify whether it is right or wrong. So example, in your if you are recording your scores in your internals from since your schooling, your level of skills will be recorded. So that will be act as a data. And what is the algorithm? The algorithm is training in which period you are higher in your studies, in which period you are lagging, and now at currently what you could be. Likewise, you can train the model, and then this trained model can be tested. What what will be your score if you are writing the exam now? So that will be the testing phase. So you can classify your program into two phases. That is the training phase and testing phase. Training phase usually uses large data, and then it will be used, certain strategies will be applied to train the model. The same model then will be used for testing data for the prediction. For future prediction, you will use the model for that becomes the testing the phases. Is it clear, students, what is training and what is testing? So here also a number of factors are there. If you're having a perfect system means the success of machine learning system is depends on what strategy here we have applied, and what is the strategy here we have used to make the to find the result. So these are some of the factors which affects the machine learning. Next, we see some of the main terms that are related to the machine learning. If you talk about machine learning, surely you will come across these three words: artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. Then what will be the relationship? What is the relationship between these three elements of machine learning? Already those who are in studying in UG, you might have a paper like artificial intelligence. In the last century, we had that area, artificial intelligence. We are making the computers to make decisions, and that period we have developed expert systems which uses some rule-based systems. We will write some rules. It will produce the results that we get treated as the expert in that particular system. But later on, after the invention of the technological growth in terms of efficiency, that is compatibility of machines are very high end. Now we are in the currently we are using high end edge cutting machines. So most of the processors are idle. So we make use of that processor, better utilization of the processor. We made the machines to think. So we coined the new topic, that is machine learning. So in machine learning, we can say it is a subset of AI. So even we can try for, excuse me, a small set of programs. So machine learning system you can develop with with the system, with the help of the system what you are having. It is possible for us. But the next one is the deep learning. Then what is the difference between this machine learning and deep learning? Deep learning requires, which involves large data sets. Say example, what type of data that Amazon handle. So it requires enormous space. So deep level is also a machine learning, but it requires large data. It deals with only large data set. Is it possible for us to handle large data set? So we must have that facility to handle all these data sets. But even we don't have that facilities to handle large data sets, we can offer it for hire. Say example, for that we are having cloud services. Have you heard about that cloud, the terminology cloud? Yes, for hire we can have the facilities. We can offer the facilities. We can hire the facilities from clouds. It is possible to do deep learning programs. So that is the relationship between artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. Excuse me. Let us see the difference between the traditional programming and machine learning. In traditional programming, as I told you, a data and program will be fed into the computer so that what you will get is output. We had seen an example for sorting numbers. In machine learning, what happens is data and what could be the output will be fed to the computer so that your program will be the output. Here the program will be named as a model. So that is machine learning. This is what we have already discussed. I diagrammatically shown in once again. That is the modern definition for machine learning uttered by Tom Mitchell is popularly nowadays what we are using. That is, according to him, a computer program is said to learn from experience E. So here the experience E means the data what we are having with respect to the some class of tasks. So what is the task we are going to handle, and we are evaluating the task by measuring its accuracy. Let it be P. If the performance of task T is improves with its experience as measured by P, then it is said to be machine learning. Okay, we can see it in some other words. For example, you are given a data set, and what the task you have to do, and how will you evaluate the performance of the machine learn, that is the system that what you have there. So a computer system is to learn from experience to perform the task. It after learning the system performance on T, if it improves by measuring its by P. So that is the learned model, whether it helps the system to perform T better than compared to no learning. If you are doing the same job without no learning, you won't have, if you execute the same set of data with n number of times, it will give you the same results. But in machine learning, if you use the same set of data, it will give different result. That is, it depends on the time and based on the experience, it won't give the same result. It will give some other results. Say example, if you are searching for this Amazon, whether it gives the same items for suggestions for you to buy, no, exactly, no. It will give some other alterations it gives. So it won't give you the same results for each and every time. Based on the time and experience, it gives some other preferences to you for selection. Okay, this is an example for the game of checkers. Actually, I told you, who is the author of machine learning? That is the who coined the word? Arthur Samuel. Can you remember this person? The same person has only designed this game checkers. If you have a familiarity in playing, even I also didn't play this game, but it was in the 1980s, it was a popular game, checkers game. Even now you can try to play the game. So according to the modern definitions, how we can classify the tasks of the game checker. Let T be the playing the game checker, and P will be the percentage of game won by a person against his opponent, and E will be the number of games. That is the playing, the how many games you are playing. I think you might have the experience of playing solitaire or any card game in your Windows. I hope you are having that experience. Am I correct or not? So whether you will have, while you're playing that in the first time, it will be very easy. And when you're playing a number of times, you will face somewhat a difficult problem. So how it gives complicated? Why it gives a easy program first, and then it will give you a very tough game in the next time, or consecutive time it gives the very tough games. It is based on some certain strategy it applies for selection of the game. Okay, this is the example for handwritten recognition. You can verify with your answers. You make a try, make an attempt to classify what is T, what is P, what is E in handwriting recognition words. Take 1 minute of time and then verify your answers. The task will be recognizing handwritten words. And what do you mean by the percentage? How many words we have exactly classified with respect to the word given. And then E will be the database. How many words we have used to train your system. So that is handwritten word recognition. Okay, let us see what are the types of machine learning that we are having. Actually, we are having a thousands of numbers of machine learning systems in the world, but we can classify major class. Here we can say the class of machine learning. We can classify into 3 categories: supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. Let us see one by one in detail. What do you mean by supervised? Supervised means there will be a teacher who will teach you what is what. Likewise, in computer programs, you will have a set of data, and each data will be labeled as this is name, this is age, this is mark. Likewise, you will have labeling on it. Suppose if you want to predict the outcome of the dependent variable for the independent variable, you have to find the model, you have to fix the model. There are number of functions are available in statistical methods. We are familiar with the statistical model. You might have in school standard, in 10th standard and plus 2 standard, we have studied about probability theory and linear regression. Have you heard about linear regression, regression type, correlation coefficients? These are the some of the topics that is which describes about the relationship between the two variables. So here we are having that how we are relating these, we are finding the relationship between the variables using this statistical functions. So here we have considering only two supervised learning techniques, regression and classification. I give very simple examples so that it will be very helpful to you to learn about this supervised learning. So what we have seen so far, just what we had seen, machine learning, the definition for machine learning, and what it does, and how in which way it differs from our traditional programming. And here we are going to see what is supervised. So here in supervised learning, there will be a teacher and it will, that is the teacher will tell you what data it is. So here we are going to see a linear regression model. This is an example. Okay, here I have given two columns. What are them? Let it be the first column will be X and the right column will be Y. What is the relationship between the X and Y variables? 2, 4, here 3, here in the right hand side you are having respective attribute is 9. In the left hand side you are having 4, 16. Then what could be 2.5? How will you find? Anybody? Answer please. I expect answer from any one of you.
6.25, ma'am.
Yeah, good. You just analyze how did you arrive the result. First, you take the first sample 2 and 4. You analyze what is the relationship. It may be a square or addition, and then come to take the second one 3 and 9. Okay, you partially you have confirmed that the relationship between these two pairs will be the square, and you once again you can confirm with the third data. Likewise, if you find the relationship, then what you had done, you apply the same logic to find the value for 2.5. The same, this is the program what we are doing in our practical lab. Suppose if you are doing it for somewhat large, somewhat bigger data sets, like in university level or in a particular office level, it is called machine learning. Suppose if you are doing it for many big organizations in the world, that is called that is deep learning. That is the regression. So given the pairs of values, x1, y1, x2, y2, x, and you can have any number. The number will be vary, and that what data you are handling will be vary according to a problem. And then here we are, what we are doing, learn a function f of x. Here what function we have used? Square function to predict y for the given set of x. Here y is real valued, then it is known as regression. What does it mean, real valued? Suppose 2.5 means you are getting a numeric quantity you will get. So that is called regression. Suppose if you are having some data, say example the name, whether you can sanction a loan for a particular person. The data will be, the output will be yes or no. Then it is said to be classification. So here next we see the supervising method, that is machine learning algorithm, how it will work. I had shown once again to get a more clarity about supervised learning, I have given this picture. So example here, the input data. So what input data here we are having? Training, text, documents or images or sounds, whatever may be the data, the exact what you are having will not be acceptable to the programs. So it will be converted to some certain certain form that the system accepts. That is called the feature vector. And machine learning algorithm, this is what we are having different strategy. And each and every document, the data what you are supplying, each and everything will be assigned with a label, that is parallelly you are giving. So label the data is converted into vector, that is feature, that is we have converted to the acceptable form of the machine learning algorithm. Both will be fed to the machine learning algorithm, and then what you get as output, one model, that is also a model, that is also a program. So which will be used, so the last line shows the testing phase. Say example, you are testing with new text document or image, the sound, what for which purpose you have developed the system. The same set of data, one data set is fed as an input, and once again you will extract the feature from this, and then you will apply to the model. Then you can, the expected label will be the output for your model. Is it clear, students? This is the outline, that is a somewhat extended version of your machine learning algorithm. So initially I have drawn the outline of the machine learning program, machine learning model. Here we have some extended version of this same task. Here to get more clarity, I have given one more example, prediction. This is also, I also copied from the internet only. The price of a used car. Here let X be the car attributes. Say example, what may be the attributes of car? The model, the size, the capacity, the engine model. Likewise, these are all some of the attributes of car, which can be used to fix the price. So you can find the Y value, that is the price of the car, using this function g of x given by its attributes. So what is here, what is g? G is the model you are going to develop. Is it clear, students? So this can be represented by using the small fitting a straight line equation of a statistical, that is called a regression model. Here y equal to wx plus w0, that is what w0, y that will be the intercept, and w will be the slope. And next one is what we are going to discuss is supervised learning classification. Already what we had discussed is regression. In regression, the output will be some numerical value. But in case of classification, it cannot be a numerical value, but you can have another label, like some values in the form of text. That is called classification. So machine learning task that deals with identifying the class to which an instance belongs to. For example, if you are having 5 classes, you find an object to which class it belong to. How will you find it? You have to say it is belong to A. Another example I can tell you. What is the grade system? Here we are following a grade system now. So how will you define the grading of your class? If a student of X, what is his or her class? How will you say? Grade A, grade B. It is not a real value or a numerical value. It is a somewhat an instant name of a class. So we can, it is defined as the classification. So a classifier, here what the system performs classification is known as classifier. So it uses the categorical data. That is the difference between the categorical data and the numerical data. Numerical data which involves numerical valuation. Categorical data is somewhat it uses labels. That is the difference. Say example, here we have defined some categorical data. Here we are, and here there are some plus some symbols, and we are having some stars, and here we are having some circles with red dots. So how will you classify? These borderlines will help you to define the boundary of the objects. This is another example for classification. Here we are having 2 classes, class A and class B. The boundary line is defined by the straight line. If you have chosen any object which lies on the point which is left hand, that is which is near to y-axis, means which belong to class A. Suppose if we have taken a point which is near to x-axis, means which belongs to class B. And here I have given an example for illustrating the classification task. Here we have taken some transaction with the attribute, 3 attributes, and the last class is the result. Say example attribute. What are the 3 attributes and data we are having here? Yes, large, some space that is downloaded, or this is the metric what the particular person downloaded. Say example 120K, 100K, 70K. So these are the input data. By using this data, we have learned a model. This learned model used a certain type of learning algorithm. So what type of learning algorithm, we don't bother. So here we have learned a model. That model is used for finding the values. By using this model, is it possible to find the value of the attribute value no, and for the attribute value small, and attribute third value 55K, then what could be the class? So the class value will be either yes or no. Is it clear, students? Am I getting?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Yes, okay. Here we have used 10 data to learn our model, and we are testing the model with this 5 data. So we can find the class of these sample 5 data. That is example for classification task. So here the class label will be somewhat label. That will be a class name. It is not a numerical value. That is the difference between the classification and regression model. So these are the some of the examples for supervised learning. So what in supervised learning? Here we have taught this will be this. Say example, it contains 3 attributes. If the attribute values are like this, then the class will be like this. So we are one person here teach everything to the model. So that is, it is said to be supervised model. This is one another example of supervised learning for classification. For credit scoring, most of the bank offering us credit cards. You are familiar with credit cards, no? So how they are fixing the amount, that is the limit for sanctioning the credit value for a particular customer. So based on the 2 attributes, here we have taken the 2 attributes. What are the 2 attributes here we have taken? Income and saving. So let the income is greater than that of the attribute theta 1 and the saving is greater than that of theta 2. Then the bank is at low risk to collect the credit from the consumer. Otherwise, it will be sanction will be given to sanction to the consumer with the high risk. So it is a simple. So the what is the rule here we have written is known as the rule based one, and which is known as the model. If you are applying, if you are using this rule to define the model and to sanction the consumer, it is said to be the supervised learning model. Is it clear, students? Supervised classification? Say yes or no. I'm asking very simple questions, students. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, very good. Thank you. Okay, so where we can use this classification applications? Certain type of pattern recognition. What do you mean by pattern recognition? A pattern will be an image or it may be a text which can be verified whether it is equivalent to the source. For example, document verifications. Wherever you have seen a document, somebody say the scripts on the wall, which is written by our ancient people. Like, how will you verify this? So it will be treated as images. So it will be compared with the scripts that are written by the ancient people. If it is both are equal, then it is said to be acceptable. Like face recognition and handwritten recognition, already what we have discussed, and temporal dependency, which is used in languages, and sensor fusion, which combines a number of models. Say example, which combines 2 models. At the same time, it uses image and speech, sound and image combined fusion models are also possible. And it is possible to find from the symptoms, you can find the what type of the disease that the patient has. Likewise, you can classify. So these are some of the areas we can apply classification. So what are the different techniques? As we have discussed only 2, classification and regression are the 2 techniques which comes under the supervised learning. Here we have listed more, only few, and to telling the truth, we are having hundreds and hundreds of functions available on the internet, which helps you to make your system to be supervised one. Linear classifier, which involves numerical functions, parametric models, naive-Bayes, Gaussian, discriminant analysis, Head and Markov model, probabilistic graphical model. We are not going supposed to see about all these things. Just we had seen what is what. just a supervised learning. Under this, we are having hundreds of algorithms we are having. Here, I cannot give you the complete list of supervised learning techniques. Likewise, in non-parametric, that is, which are instance-based functions, k nearest neighbors, kernel regression, kernel density estimation, local regression, these are all under the category of non-parametric. And non-metric, which involves symbolic functions like cart, decision trees in the form of symbolic functions only we can draw. For example, our family heritage can be drawn using decision trees, aggregation. So these are the some of the supervised learning techniques. And let us come to the second category, unsupervised learning. So what do you mean by unsupervised learning? Here, there won't be no teacher to tell you what is what. So example, you just now back from the market with the bag full of vegetables. And there is a small kid of age 2 to 3 in your at your home. Then you ask the kid to sort all these vegetables. Then what the child will do, based on the texture, based on the shape, it will sort the items what you bought in from the market, isn't it? That is known as unsupervised learning. Here we will have the items, the raw data only we will have. Here we don't have no label. So it is a type of learning from normally what happened, how our mind accepts data from the outside world. That is the type of unsupervised learning. So unsupervised learning is the training of machine using information that is neither classified nor labeled. In classification, it won't have neither classification and it won't have no labels. And some of the technique, the main two examples, in popular two techniques in unsupervised learning are clustering and association. What is clustering? Clustering is grouping of items. Association, we are applying some rules for the association. Let us see in detail about clustering and association. Examples for applications. Customer segmentation in CRM. So what is customer segmentation? As I told you in Amazon data type, Amazon data set, if you have taken Amazon data set, what will happen? It will categorize its customers. How it categorizes its customers, who buys dresses often, who buys kitchen items often. Based on the purchase they made, it categorizes the customers. So for that it will help. It won't have any idea about the customer, but what item they are purchasing, it can predict some informations about the customer. That is called customer segmentation. And the same technique can be used in image compression. What is image compression? We are reducing the images. The techniques what we can use to reduce the space occupied by the image. Like in bioinformatics, for learning motives, it is used to unsupervised learning methods are useful, very useful. We are having many applications in unsupervised. So this is the example. That is what we had already discussed. This is a deep diagram which help you to learn about unsupervised learning. Here we don't have label. That is the only difference. I give it parallelly. Here, supervised and unsupervised, what we had already discussed. In supervised learning, here we are having label, but in unsupervised, we don't have such label. But it does the same job. Almost the training, what we learn from the model, the task will be the same, but what we are providing to the system and what we are getting out of the system will differ. That is the difference between supervised and unsupervised. Is it clear, students? Okay, let us see in detail about clustering. As I told you, I have given the example. Now you can have a glance about the definition for clustering. So it is a task of grouping a set of data points such that data points in the same group are more similar. So if you are arranging the potato in the basket in aside, and you can have tomato in another side. So that is, you can group based on the texture and the quality. So likewise, data points in the same group are more similar to each other than data points in another group. So potato will entirely different from tomato. So that is called the cluster. So it groups data instances that are similar to each other in one cluster and data. So here what we are trying to say, potatoes are somewhat in, they will, if you are having a number of potatoes, how it will be, the shapes almost the same, but you can have a very big tomato and a very small potato in the group, but almost the texture will be the same. So that is more similarity. But tomatoes means you will have a small potato and you can have a bigger tomato. So the quality will be that is the texture, color will be almost the same. So if you taken a potato in one hand, tomato in another hand, the difference will be very different. The color will entirely different, the weight will differ, the same size of potato and tomato will differ. That is what we are trying to see. Okay, take this picture, unsupervised learning we have taken for clustering. Here we have some dotted points, no? Okay, how will you classify? If I am asking to cluster, how many clusters are there? How will you group the dots in this picture shown in this slide? How many groups are there in this picture? Can you say? How many groups are there? Suppose if the plots are, you just imagine there is a market in that area, which is plotted as like this. Then how can you say how many populations? How will you cluster? How will you groupify these data points? Maximum how many groups you can have it for this picture?
3, ma'am.
Tell me. How many groups are there?
3, ma'am.
Yes, 3. Very good, very good. Okay, so you can have a borderline. Can you imagine if it is an area, you can fit this points to one particular group, so that you can maximum you can classify into 3 to 4. I have classified this into 3 and put it in a different colors. You can see it. So in unsupervised learning, algorithms are to find the number of groups. Here we didn't give any number. But according to the position and according to the attributes, we can define the number of groups what it has, and we can find the group in which that the particular point belongs to. So that is the task of clustering. So we are having some machine learning task which does some this clustering task. Then data points that are in the same group. Say example, within the same group means they will have the same similarity characteristics. They will have the same characteristics and we denoted by the same color. And points in different group will have different similarity, dissimilar properties. They will have dissimilar properties. That is the concept of clustering. And to know more about clustering, I have taken one more example which has clustered into 4 groups. Is it clear, students? Clustering. Here we have defined it. Since the arrangement of points are like that, so we have to define it into 4 groups. So that is the concept of clustering. So as I told you, how it will be useful for machine learning is helpful for the applications. That is to define machine learning systems for market segments and social network analysis. It is used to classify the people based on their interest. In market segment, say example, CRM customer segmentation is done in CRM. Like this is my customer market segment, what we had already discussed. And then here are the some types of clustering. As I told you, we are having hundreds of clustering techniques. And here I have listed only few that popular clustering techniques. K means clustering, fuzzy C means clustering, agglomerative clustering, divisive clustering, and probabilistic clustering, which is a mixture of Gaussian model. This is the extension of Hidden-Markov model we have seen. And the next, unsupervised learning association rule. So what is association rule and how it could be, how we can write the rules, association rules. So example, which is based on the transactions. It is also known as market basket analysis. It particularly applied for commercial purposes to find the consumer preferences. Say example, suppose in a market, a customer who buys bread Also buy milk. Suppose if you are buying a product, automatically you have to choose one. If you buy a mobile phone means certainly you will buy a phone case. So if you are buy X means surely you will buy Y. You should buy Y. So there will be some items. So most of the markets will supply both items in the same place so that you can select the items very easily. Likewise, another example is what symptoms go with what diagnosis. Suppose if you are having body pain with fever, with cough, then you can say what are the symptoms of this fever, of this fever with the cough and heavy body pain. Surely you will say it is corona, no? You are in pandemic period. If you are having the symptoms, then it will be very helpful to diagnose the disease. So example, it is a transaction based or it can be event based one. That is association rules. And we see one example. Here I have given 5 transaction of one particular store. First transaction is done with bread and milk, and second transaction is done with 4 items: bread, dal, garlic, and egg. And transactions third, fourth with 1 or like this. So make a study over these transactions. What happens? 3 times bread and milk are repeated. So simple probability theory will be applied here to what items that the customer require and customer buy with other item. We can have and we can provide that items also so that we can make profit over it. So that is basket analysis. Probability of Y given that X is the probability that somebody who buys X also buys Y basis. Here X and Y are the product or it may be the service. What does it mean by services? What type of the service? If you are sending any service means you are washing your car and two-wheeler, in the same place you will you will go. Or if you go for a salon or if you go for a parlor, you will prefer one particular for all your services. So that is the example for learning association. And third type is reinforcement learning. This is somewhat difficult than what we had already discussed, supervised and unsupervised. Reinforcement is based on the situation. So example, robot arm. Robot, if the robot is moving to forward, if it finds an obstacle before, what it will do? After finding it, it will react based on the obstacle before it has. It turn left or right. So if it turns, there may also some obstacles. So based on the environment, it has to take the next step. So this reinforcement learning is based on this environment and it based on this agent. Here it involves the agent and the environment. Based on that, it goes to the next step. It is very somewhat difficult than that of the previous two, supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So reinforcement learning deals with agents which makes sense and act upon the environment. Based on the environment only, it reacts. So this is the combination of, we can say that it is a combination of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Machine learning, learning itself and making intelligence. And it is the most comprehensive problem setting. So it is, you must take more care while you are designing your reinforcement learning. So example, here you are having an agent and here you are having an environment. This agent, based on that action, it will go to the environment. After going to the environment, it defines the next state, what it has to go, and a reward which helps you to make the agent to learn more. The reward defines what the agent learns. Once again, I explain this reinforcement learning in different picture. The same picture is defined with details. As example, agent and environment interact with discrete timestamps at a time t. Agent observes the step. So what is the step it has to do at the time steps t? It produces the action at step t. So what is the action? So agent to environment will be based on the action only. It goes to the state, agent to the environment, and it gets a result as a reward and it go to the next step. Based on the reward only, it learns itself. So then what is the conclusion about this reinforcement learning? Here, no supervised output. but the reward only makes the system to learn. And what policy here we are using, what action we should take in particular situations, that is what the policy we have to apply. And utility estimation is nothing but how the state is good. Here are some of the examples of reinforcement learning. So it is a time-based one. At the time, what the consumer or the customer react, which is based on that, the machine will learn. That is resource management in computer clusters. And traffic light control. Sometimes during the night time, there won't be more traffic, but during the daytime, traffic light control systems maybe it should react according to the traffic happened on that particular time. And web system configuration, credit assignment. A credit assignment, one time that consumer may be worth to pay all his credits, but later on period, sometimes he may be become more earned, and or he may little bit down to his earnings. So it is based on what his current level. And robot in a maze, and number of game, whatever you are doing, and you are having that experience, PUBG. So it is when you are shooting it, what should it to happen? So it depends on the situations, the current state. So that is which all depends on the reinforcement learning. Somewhat it is difficult comparing with the other two methods. Not only these two methods, we are having many number of learning methods, and some of the classification of these methods I have listed here. Hybrid learning approaches. What do you mean by hybrid learning approaches? Mixed up of two or three methods. Say example, semi-supervised learning. Semi-supervised, it is a combination of unsupervised and supervised. We can say here we will have both data. Some sort of data will not have labels. Some few data may be given as with label. And self-supervised learning means a supervised learning problem that it framed as a supervised learning problem. And multi-instance learning, the individual members of the collections are not labeled, and the entire collection of examples labeled as containing or not containing in the class. So that is called the multi-instance learning. And statistical, we are having inductive learning method, deductive inference, and transfective learning methods. And the learning technique also, we are having very different types of approaches. Multitask learning. So in using this multitask learning, one data state which will address multiple related problems. The same set of problems can be used to solve many problems. And active learning in the sense, it has the ability to accept the user during the learning process. And online learning, it solves the problems online. It uses the latest data sets available in the at that time. And transfer learning, a model is first trained and the task starts from the same point. Say example, cross compilers. First we build a small house and we can extend it. Likewise, here we will design the model with a small set of data, and then we can reconstruct it with for enormous data sets. And ensemble learning, which uses multiple models. And here we have having the factors, some of the factors which affect the performance of machine learning. What type of the data we are having to train our system, and what type of training we are going to use, how you are going to represent your data, and the type of feedback how you are using to enrich the knowledge of the machine learning system. So these are all the main things, main factors which affects the performance of the machine learning. Is it clear? Types of training, what is the algorithm you are used for training, and the background knowledge is what type of the data and how you are going to represent it in the storage, the type of the feedback, how you are going to enrich the learning of your system, and the learning algorithm, what you are using to get detail from the, which will be helpful in during the testing phase. Okay, now you are going to see how will you frame a learning problem. Normally you are having a problem, then what you will do, you will split it into a number of subtasks, and you will write down the algorithm, and then you will implement it. But the same approach will not be applicable to machine learning programmings. So here we have to collect all the data. Here we treat it as an experience, which are nothing but the data what you are going to handle. That is, choose the training experience, and then choose exactly what is to be learned. What is that is known as the target function. What you are going to infer from the machine learning. So you have to define it, and then choose how to represent the target function, and decide how to learning algorithm which will infer the target function from the experience. So you have to find these objects from the problem, then you have to classify, then implement it. It will be a basic one for the to train a learning problem. As I told you, what type of the data, while you are concluding all this supervised and unsupervised reinforcement, how it handles data. Here we have a conclusion part of the types of training. In supervised learning, which uses a series of labels with examples with the director. So it gets the feedback directly from the data set it already has. Unsupervised the learning, which has no feedback. And reinforcement learning, after many number of attempts, it indirectly gets the feedback. That is the type of the training it uses. Different types of learning algorithms uses. Not only this, we are having these number of functions representation for machine learning. We can classify it as numerical functions, symbolic functions, instant-based functions, probability graphical-based functions. Now we are going to see hidden Markov model. If we see this hidden Markov model, we start from the simple probability. Since we are having very limited time, I'm going to skip this hidden Markov model. Just I give what are the components. Already we are familiar with the probability, no? Suppose assume we are having a bowl containing a number of balls. The event is picking one ball randomly means, if you are picking a red ball means, the probability will be 3 by 12, isn't it? Assume we are having 3 bowls like this. You represent the picking up of all colored balls from this bowls. You can represent it in the probability. No need for the exact number what you are having in this bowls. It is defined as in the probability. This is known as emission probability. So don't bother about all these things. If you are in need to implement a HMM model, you can learn many things. Because of very short span of time, I couldn't elaborate all these things. We just skip all this. Let us have some see this. What are the components of hidden Markov model? Let n be the number of states and the number of distinct observations. It has 5 components, and transition probability, observation probability, and it has initial state distributions. Suppose after defining your problem, what you have to do, you have to find the components which matches the attributes of your problem domain. Then you can modulate, you can find the results using this hidden Markov model. Already you are having number of tools available on the internet, so that even though you are using an internet, it is required to know familiarity about how it works. So we skip this slides. So let us come to this automatic speech recognition. Directly we go to the applications, so that we are having a very large set of application area. So since I think it is enough for discussing, we have discussed 4 types of machine learning algorithms, isn't it? Regression, classification, and clustering, association. And these are all somewhat advanced topics. So I skipped all this. Neural network is very important nowadays, since actually neural networks concepts were evolved in middle of 1950s, but at the time when it was invented, that was not much popular. But since more applications are developed, evolved using this neural network because of its different variations. Those are thousands of variants of neural networks are available, which leads which occupies most of the machine learning algorithms in the internet. So if you want to continue. If you, as you are all computer science students, you must be familiar with neural network. So that is why I had the slide, but I cannot extend it more. So directly we go to the applications. We are having more slides in application. I skipped this area. So this is the overall applicational area of machine learning in medicine, business, computer vision, natural language processing, textile industry, physics, chemistry, medical physics, bioinformatics, and we are having many more list of applications of machine learning. Let us see the medicine. In medicine, as we have discussed only few in the beginning part of the session. This is diagnosis. Comparing with olden days, nowadays most of the systems that doctors uses are based on this machine learning. Even in operation theaters, they are using systems, particularly designed for operations or equipped with highly trained machine learning systems. And we are having personalized treatment. And because of the advent of the handling data, very large data, it is possible to have all data about every patient, and it will be helpful for drug discovery and manufacturing, radiology, radiopathy or some of the example area, and then smart electronic health records. So if you link your smartphone with the database in cloud, what you are having, it will give you an alert, that is the present conditions. You will be informed about the present conditions about your health. And then epidemic outbreak predictions are also possible, like corona pandemic period, it is possible for us in the medical field. And these are some of business intelligence where we use machine learning. Analyzing sales data, analyzing the insights of customer details, and which helpful to predict the user preferences. And real-time mobile personalization, how it collects the data. It is also from the, so whenever you are downloading any applications in your mobile phone, what you will do without reading the terms and conditions, we simply give agree. No, it is a wrong way. Without reading, we simply accepting the terms and conditions. So from that, it accepts, it reads all the data. It just grabs all our personal data and knows about our preferences, our choices, our tastes. And do you think who knows about yourself more? Your your friends, or your parents, or very close one? No, your smartphone and the Google, and what applications you have installed, it knows very well about you. Since whatever you are doing, it is recorded. Like in Facebook, whatever activity you are giving, you are giving more detail to the Facebook and Google. So everything will be collected by these apps, and they are making analysis over it, and it will help them to predict yourself. Okay. Then product recommendation, according to your preferences, it promotes you to buy something. It simply grasp your amount, what you are having in your account. And then dynamic pricing. Most of us are experienced in utilizing Ola or any online booking systems. They are using some strategy for price fixing. Is it having they are paying whether they have charged for a fixed price for distance per kilometer? No, certainly no. Why? Based on the time, peak period, that is the time, demand, the number of cars available in that period, they will charge. So it is based on the algorithm what we are having. Fraud detection, say example, outlier we can find. So how we can find the fraud deductions? We are doing many transactions, millions of transactions are done by every day within a bank. So how it finds the fraud? So by analyzing this, it finds the outlier. Many of the suppose if I am buying through online, what are the materials I am buying, and if I use my card in nearby shops, suppose if I buy it by buy an article in Switzerland or in Delhi, so it will be an outlier one. So by analyzing all these transactions only, I can come to the conclusion that it will be a fraud one. So to find this fraud, a machine learning system should be trained very well. Likewise, financial analysis from the historical data, we can design a machine learning system to predict the future, and you can increase the customer satisfaction by having a best machine learning algorithm. Supply chain management and inventory management is another area where we can have implement machine learning, and predictive maintenance, and we are having more list. It is not a few things to discuss here. And here also we are having another area, important area, computer vision techniques, image classification. What is image classification? You know, we are having many, for each and everything we are having applications in Google. Image classifications, almost this topic is used in Facebook. So assigns a label to an image classification with localization means where the picture is taken, which this information is also included in the image. Object detection, object segmentation means we are splitting the image and we can have it. And then image colorization, we can convert a grayscale image to a colored picture one. Even you can have one, that is image reconstruction. Our olden period photos, say example, your grandfather, grandmother photos can be recovered, and we can make it as in a colorful one. And then image super resolution. What does it mean, super resolutions? You have an experience of downloading pictures from Amazon, no? What are the quality differences? It can be downloaded from 30 GB or 45 GB or 80 GB. It is varieties of ways. So what is super resolution means? It will, the image will be in a fine-tuned one. And image synthesis, process of creating a new images from some form of image descriptions. So here we don't have exactly the image, but some descriptions about the image only we are reconstructing the images. One popular applications that I want to share with you. Face app. How many of you heard about this face app? You can change your face. If you are a female, you can convert your face into male app. The number of celebrities you may had seen in this type of face app images, no? So that is called image synthesis. So in which we are utilizing machine learning approaches. In linguistics, we are also having a list of applications. NLP, what is NLP? Natural language processing, which is the special computer field in which machine learning occupies more space, and which makes a computer to understand, analyze, manipulate, and generate human language. How many human languages are there? Every day we are developing many machine learning programs for different languages. Even it is most of the applications are only in English. Have you heard about use of Tamil language app for particularly Tamil? But you don't have. But you can contribute more to the Tamil language. You know, since we are born and brought in Tamil Nadu, we can do something to for our mother tongue. And tasks we do in our day-to-day activities are some information retrieval, information extraction, machine translation, text simplification, sentiment analysis, text summarization. These are all the some of the examples which are related to the linguistics. And not only this one, spam filtering, auto predict, auto correct, Grammarly. How many of you are using the experience of Grammarly when you are typing the text, when you are writing the assignments? It will be very helpful. It checks for the grammar, speech recognition, converting speech to text, speech synthesis, question answering system, dictating system, language generations, and speaker recognition, who is speaking and who and whether that particular person is authenticated a person or not. And even though we can identify what language is spoken at that time, that is known as language identification. We can identify prosody, attitude, emotion recognition from a particular voice data. Interactive dialogue system is also possible. We can compose essays and poems, and you can recreate the works of Shakespeare or Vairamuthu by using this machine learning. How it is possible for composing essays and poems? Shakespeare is not now, but is it possible to reconstruct his work or similar work constructed by Shakespeare? Yes, it is possible. For that, you have to develop a model. It should be trained with the data, what the work they have contributed. You can use the data to train the model, and you can use the trained model to get a new poem or new essays as outcome. So it is also possible with machine learning techniques. So in textile industry also, we are having enormous applications. Here I have listed few, since we are having time bounded. I just had a glance: physics and chemistry, medical physics. This is some statistics, number of published PubMed studies in radiation oncology. So which uses machine and deep learning. Already I told you what about the machine and deep learning. And likewise, we are using machine learning in biology and bioinformatics. There are a number of uses. And in this slide, I like to say a few words about the tools, what we can use for developing a machine learning. Is it possible for students to develop machine learning algorithms? Yes, it is possible. Whatever you are having, you have to implement all these minimum tools. So example, most of the systems are commercial product, and some of the tools are available online at free of cost. Okay, well, there are some open source tools are there. Here I have listed something. So based on the machine what you are having, you can download it. You can make an attempt to develop a machine learning algorithm for a simple data set. Suppose if you want to implement a machine learning system for large data sets, no need to lose our hope. So it is also possible. You can utilize the clouds. You can offer the clouds. You can have what we lack in is the idea. So who is rich in the computer field is one who has the idea. So who is only said to be rich in our field. So how you can enable your how you can enrich your knowledge by adapting, by enhancing your knowledge, by learning all these things, that only helpful you to find the position in this competitive world. That is the thing what I like to share in this presentation. And then I like to conclude, each and every day, not only every year, every day we are thousands of algorithms, machine learning algorithms are blooming. And each machine learning algorithm combined with the new computing technology, that is the hybrid technology, which improves the efficiency day by day. So since that is why we are having the versions of product in every day. And ML is combined with the business analytics, which improves the varieties of, which solves the varieties of organizational complexities. So it has more scope to bring hybrid technologies for improved efficiency. So it is also has a large scope for research. So here what you have to do to develop a machine learning system, it is not a very tough one. You have to select the problem, and you have to transform it to the machine learning problem, and collect the data what you are going to use to train the model, and fix the representation of the training data, and design the architecture of the model, train the model, then sell the model, which can be used and you can bring it to the practice. So it is possible for everybody. So if you don't have a system, no bother about it. If you are having the prompt idea with the skill set where you can get it, where you can utilize it, you will be the research person, and you can have your place within the competitive world. Thank you, students. Thank you for the patient listening. Hope I have completed. I have missed many things.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes.
Shall I ask the question, ma'am?
Yeah. I'm waiting for you.
Ma'am, I'm Vijay Rekha. I'm one of the staff.
Yes.
Suppose I have to choose the research area in the machine learning.
Okay.
How I link dimensionality reduction algorithm within the machine?
Pardon, I couldn't understand your question.
I have to choose in research area. I have to choose the machine learning. How I have to link both machine learning and dimensionality reduction algorithms.
Dimensionality reduction. So what do you mean by
Yes.
dimensionality reduction? You are based on your problem. You are having a large data set data.
Yes,
It is which contains the number of attributes. Okay, number of attributes in the sense, if you are describing a one object, you will have n number of attributes. Dimensionality reduction means you are reducing the number of the attributes what you are having.
Okay, ma'am.
No, we are having some certain type of machine level learning, particularly to reduce the reduction, greedy algorithms and some more algorithms we are having.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, it is possible. It is possible to reduce the attributes so that it won't affect the performance of the system what you have developed. You can have it. Both will give you the same results, but in the reduced attribute set, what you have developed will produce the same result.
Okay, ma'am.
We are having, but it won't. But you have to select the prompt algorithm. It is possible for you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, Zara.
Ma'am,
Any
yes,
other
ma'am.
questions, students?
Ma'am, you said that during Corona, those concepts which are used during Corona, how is it effectively worked, ma'am?
Which what did? Okay, you take. Have you heard about the Arogya
Yes, ma'am.
Setu app? Yeah. What type of information it
It
collects? What type of
it
information it
collects
gives?
the survey.
So it reacts. Yeah, certain type of it updates itself at the for the time. No, every day, every minute it updates its current data. According to it, it gives instructions to its consumer. It's a very simple feedback giving mechanism. Nothing else.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Any other questions, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening.
You said the traffic light control, ma'am. How
Traffic.
it work, ma'am?
Yeah.
How is it work?
Traffic light were actually what already we had system in a century before. There will be a traffic man, no? He controlled the traffic, and later on period nowadays what we are having traffic lights, but even nowadays we don't
Yes.
have that system that much equipped. In foreign countries, particularly in United States, they are having traffic control system equipped with machine learning systems, machine learned one, but not in India.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Not in India, we are not up to developed. But in foreign countries, they are implementing, they are
Okay.
using Tesla cars, they are having more flexible systems, some very comfortable systems they are using in abroad.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Then, any other questions?
yes, ma'am. What is mean by HEMM? How it's work,
It
ma'am?
is not audible, little bit louder, please. I couldn't hear your voice.
Ma'am, what is mean by HEMM? Ma'am, how it,
It's not audible.
hello?
Can you text me? Chat, please type in the
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am. She asked what is mean by HMM model, ma'am. What is effective from this model?
Am I audible to you?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Okay, okay. Okay, tell me your question, please. Please type your question in the chat box. I couldn't hear your voice. It seems I have full volume in my laptop.
Madam,
Ma'am, she asked
question.
what is mean by HMM.
Yes.
Yes,
என்னம்மா doubt?
ma'am, Vanitha Mani அப்படிங்கிற ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் கேட்டாங்க மேம் வாட் இஸ்
Okay, சொல்லுங்கம்மா.
HMM மாடல் அப்படின்னா என்ன?
That is a hidden Markov model. I have studied about this hidden Markov model. I have implemented this model for speech recognition system. It is based on the Markov process, what you have studied in statistical methods. It is a very large area. I couldn't find time to elaborate all these things, but it is a very interesting area. I'm familiar with the hidden Markov model. I have used a tool. Even MATLAB also supports a hidden Markov model.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Any other question?
Ma'am?
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, good evening.
Ma'am, what is programming language used, ma'am?
Programming language.
Yes, ma'am.
எதுக்குமா? Machine learning ka?
Yes, ma'am.
Machine learning, you can do it in Java, you can do it in Python, you can do it in a machine, depending upon the number of data set what you are handling. As I told you, AI problem use, that is normal programming, we will use some certain size of data. In machine level language, somewhat it will be affordable for us to handle within the what system what we are having. But in deep learning, it requires high performance computing machines, but we cannot offer it, but we can utilize it by hiring it from clouds.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Separately, we are having number of tools. I have listed in my last slide. No, make a note on it. I will share it with you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Any other questions, students? Swatika, Vijay Rekha, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Any other questions?
No, ma'am. Students are clear about the topic.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
Madam, thank you, madam.
For
Thank you,
providing.
thank you for your.
Sir. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And once again, I wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you, students.
Ma'am,
Thank you, ma'am.
Should we leave the meeting?
ma'am, no, ma'am. Vote of thanks is right.
Yeah. I'm waiting.
Thank you, ma'am, for providing your gracious presence and filling our minds with knowledge on machine learning algorithms.
Thank you.
Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. To extend our gratefulness towards everyone for their time and presence, I call upon Kirtika of third year BSc Computer Science to deliver the vote of thanks.
A warm good afternoon to all. I demand great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this wonderful occasion. First and foremost, thank our special chief guest, Dr. K. Geeta, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science in Bharathiar University, Coimbatore. Attending function in this busy schedule, we cultivate advice you gave us in real life. Thank you, ma'am. I extend my gratitude to respected principal, Mr. Ilam Paradhi sir, as able guidance, vision and commitment. Thank you, sir. My heartfelt thank to the head of the department, Mr. Tanraj sir, and all the supportive teachers of our department. Last but not least, I thank my friends for your cooperation in making the webinar a success. Once again, I thank you all for sharing a valuable time with us.
Thank you, madam. Madam, I'm Dhanaraj. Thank you, madam. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.